Sony's big PlayStation State of Play just happened, and there are some pretty big developments. Hi folks, it's Falcon, and today on gameranx, 10 big new PlayStation State of Play announcements. Starting off with number 10, we are getting a Sonic Generations remaster, and it's got a bunch of new Shadow the Hedgehog stuff in it. It's called Sonic X Shadow Generations. I'm not gonna lie, the recent Sonic Superstars in its proper handling of the physics makes me not care a whole lot about the 2D elements of Sonic Generations, but Sonic Generations is chock full of really good 3D levels, and it looks like we're going to get a bunch more in the form of Shadow levels. Anybody who likes the 3D Sonic games, I think it's basically like a huge gift. It's an attempt to use the sensibilities of Sonic Generations to make a bunch new Shadow levels. And why the hell would we not want that as enjoyers of 3D Sonic the Hedgehog? In my opinion, absolutely fantastic thing to tide us over while we find out what the hell Sonic Frontiers 2 ends up looking like. As far as 2D stuff, obviously Sonic Superstars has most of the formula figured out. I'm not that excited about going back to the 2D stuff in Generations because of that. But yeah, I'm really excited about playing more Shadow levels. At number 9, we got a proper gameplay preview of Rise of Ronin. Honestly, it looks absolutely incredible. Just a beautiful recreation of the West kind of invading old school Japanese sensibilities, but like not skyscrapers and modern stuff. It's that older world architecture, and wow, is it cool to see. It's just not something we're typically exposed to. The game looks to me like it pretty effectively blends a lot of what we understand as action RPGs right now, because I see some Dark Souls influence. I mean, after all, these are the guys who made Neo. But I see Assassin's Creed influence, which means that influence has probably made its way in here by way of Ghost of Tsushima. The combat looks pretty damn cool, honestly. I would say it's a little bit faster looking than Dark Souls. It's probably closer to what you might expect with Ghost of Tsushima. But you really can see that Neo experience in it. This is a developer that is integrating a lot of good ideas. And I mean, also, besides, you know, walking around with an awesome samurai sword and being great, you've also got guns and flamethrowers and stuff. I mean, they're primitive, but this is a pretty different looking game. It's kind of the Japanese equivalent of the time where the cowboy era was ending. And we've had a couple of games that's set in that era, but this really, to me, looks like it takes advantage of it in a way that the others just haven't yet. And I'm really, really excited to play it when it comes out on March 22nd. Stay tuned. At number 8, we are getting an enhanced remaster of Until Dawn, and we're not just getting it on the PS5, which it is nice we're getting it on the PS5, but we're getting it on the PC as well. So they have rebuilt the entire game in Unreal Engine 5. Now keep in mind that doesn't mean they've just made it into a brand new game. It's not a remake, it's a remaster. It's all the old assets, all the old animations. It does look nicer, at least going off of memory and assuming that what they showed us is the new version of it. But it also gives us a new camera control, like we can play it in third person. And they've also added contextual character movement animations, which I'm sure was kind of a conceit that if you add a third-person camera, you kind of need that. You're going to see more of the things that are going on and the people. From the more fixed camera, it matters less, but when you're closer up in on the action, it matters way more. I assume part of this is because they announced a film adaptation of Until Dawn. It makes sense they would want to reintroduce this game to everybody, but it's also nice that they're giving it a new coat of paint. It's almost a decade old, and it does kind of show its age when you play it. Not that this is going to look astoundingly better, but it is going to look better, and I like the ideas for the additions that they've told us. It's a good game. And it really did define a lot of what happened in narrative-driven games after it came out. At number 7, we got a much more in-depth view of Stellar Blade, which is, I mean, kind of looks like Nier Automata a little bit. It's pretty different in terms of its conceits, but at the very core, ladies in semi-skimpy outfits running around post-apocalyptic cities. It's going to remind you of Nier Automata. It is a hack and slash, but I don't know that I want to compare it so closely to what Platinum does with hack and slash. It's not slow by any means, but to me, it looks a little bit slower. I don't know why it also keeps giving me a bit of a Souls-like vibe, even though it's definitely not a Souls-like game. I think Dark Souls has just made like an irrevocable impact on combat. Even games where somebody might be caping primarily from Platinum, you still end up seeing a little bit of that Dark Souls stuff in it. And I don't know if it's necessarily moves that reminded me of that, but it's kind of the pacing. I don't know. We'll see if I'm just full of crap and it's just a trailer later. But it does look really cool. I do hope that it's a good one, because if it does end up being like a bad game, it's got the vibes of a Wanted Dead type bad game, so maybe that wouldn't necessarily be like a full-on loss, but I don't think it's going to be bad. If it's bad, that's the kind of game it's going to be, though, I think. I don't know. We'll see. At number 6, Death Stranding 2 is officially titled Death Stranding 2 on the Beach. Now, to be fair, this is something that leaked ahead of time, and we've known something about it. But I'm going to say this, that's a hell of a title. Also, hell of a trailer, right? Wowee. If you remember being confused by Death Stranding, the game or the original trailer, I mean, it's kind of what Death Stranding exists to do. It exists to confuse you. It is not a regular type of game. It is a Strand type game, as you know. And yeah, it seems like they never, ever don't do that when they bring it up. Kojima's just nuts, man, you know? I don't know what's going on in this guy's head at all times, but I don't envy the nightmares this guy has. Wakes up in the middle of the night, decides to write that one down. Gonna use that in the Aging Rain Ghostbusters 2. Yeah, it's all nuts. On the Beach is a silly title. It makes perfect sense if you've played the game. Well, maybe I'm speaking a little definitively. It makes some sense if you've played the original game. Shouldn't say perfect sense. None of this makes perfect sense. You get why it's called On the Beach if you played the first game. Still, that's a choice, I gotta say. At number 5, we got a Silent Hill dump. First off, we got the Silent Hill 2 combat revealed to us. Now, keeping in mind that Silent Hill 2 is not exactly a game known for its combat, the fact that some decently competent combat footage that doesn't look horrible is showing us how we're going to be fighting in the new version of Silent Hill 2, it doesn't bother me. I know some people might scoff a little bit. It's not the best looking combat you've ever seen in your life, but I think maybe very few people remember Silent Hill 2 for its combat, and it's because the combat is not good in Silent Hill 2. The way they're remaking it, it's probably clear that they have to have combat, and to have decent combat probably prevents the game from being a disaster. Like back in the day, you could say, well, the combat's bad because you're not supposed to be able to fight. And in truth, the fact you are a little bit helpless in combat encounters does contribute to what makes Silent Hill 2 so great. But you can't just remake that one-to-one when you're updating so many other elements of the game. It would be weird. So I'm glad they're not taking the combat too far. I'm glad it's not like super slick, perfect Resident Evil remake combat. But I'm also glad they have modernized it and maybe given us combat options. Maybe not incredible ones, but I think they're trying to strike a balance, and I think that's a good idea for them, honestly. We also got a preview of a new free-to-play Silent Hill game. Now, that sounds awful because Konami has a history of doing stupid things, but it actually looks like a good thing. It's just going to be a short narrative experience that they're going to give out for free, and it actually has good atmosphere, some stuff that's maybe a little bit reminiscent of PT, and then it takes it in an even more extreme direction. I don't know, it looks good. It looks interesting. It's called Silent Hill: The Short Message, and obviously both the remake and the short message we will be giving you new information on as soon as we have. At number 4, we got some announcements for games that were previously only coming to other platforms or were out on other platforms. The first of which is V Rising, an action RPG survival game that came out on PC early access back in 2022. It did very well. It's still in early access, but it's coming out in its full state later in the year. I have a feeling that will be coinciding. Basically, it's a vampire survival game. It's exactly what it sounds like, and it does exactly what it's supposed to do, and it does it well. Dave the Diver, a kind of tongue-in-cheek but also very serious game where you start a sushi restaurant and then you also dive into the ocean for the sushi. It's kind of a management sim. It's kind of an adventure survival thing. Honestly, it's a hell of an experience. It's exciting to see that it's coming to PlayStation. And finally, Zenless Zone Zero, which was previously coming to PC, is a roguelike action RPG that knows exactly what you want to see in your anime ladies. That's all I'm going to say about that. It's got a lot of personality. The combat looks really cool, etc., etc. They know what they're selling this game on. They open up with a shot of it. Now, keep in mind, that's not necessarily a criticism, and I do think the game looks pretty sweet. For reasons other than that, actually. It looks like a good game. All three of these games are coming out sometime this year. They don't have hard release dates, but they're all welcome additions to the PlayStation catalog. At number 3, we got a trailer for Metro Awakening, which is a VR Metro game. I don't know what I need to say beyond that. It's a VR Metro game. It's a Metro game for PSVR. If you don't know what that is, it's post-apocalyptic Moscow. Nuclear war already happened, and there's scary stuff that roams around, and you have to fight it sometimes. Seriously, the Metro series is great, and it's perfect for VR if they land it. I'm pretty excited for it, honestly. They don't have a date, but it's supposedly coming this year, so stay tuned. At number 2, Legendary Tales, which is a really cool VR game that's been in early access. It's not perfect, but it's one of these games that like kind of takes something familiar, kind of Skyrim-ish, and turns it into a multiplayer dungeon crawler that's in VR, and it just feels great. Between the medieval weapons and their physics and all the magic in it, it's really, I mean, maybe not the most visually impressive thing you're ever going to see, but if you've ever tried it, it's super fun. I highly recommend it. I'm excited because both the full final release for Steam as well as the PSVR 2 game, they're both coming out on February 8th, and that's like a week from now. And finally, at number 1, Hideo Kojima. This lunatic came out with even more news. Like, obviously, we saw some absolutely nutso crap for Death Stranding 2 on the beach, but also our man has come out saying he is going to reinvent the tactical espionage action of Metal Gear. We are a ways off because they're not going to even start full-scale production on it until they finish Death Stranding 2, which is apparently coming out next year. Apparently, this game is going to be a completely new IP, and it's not just going to be a game, it's also going to be a movie in some way. I don't know exactly what that means, but honestly, that's pretty exciting. I love me some of the crazy crap that comes out of that man's brain. But yeah, I mean, this was a pretty eventful PlayStation State of Play presentation. Exciting to see all this stuff. Let us know what you think. If you like this video, click like. If you're not subscribed, now's a great time to do so. We upload brand new videos every day of the week. Best way to see them first is, of course, a subscription, so click subscribe. Don't forget to enable notifications. And as always, we thank you very much for watching this video. I'm Falcon. You can follow me on Twitter at Falcon the Hero. We'll see you next time right here on gameranx.